Today I wanted to show you how I built these adjustable flight stands. I can't remember where I saw the idea originally, but I think it was too good to pass up, so I had to give it a go. These things are really easy and really cheap as well. So I started out with these inspection mirrors. These are for automobiles or something like that. Each of these cost me $5 and they were from Supercheap Auto. If you wanted to splash out even more, there are magnetic ones, which is like extendo magnetic things that are $10 each. But this works just fine. I just take off the cap at the bottom, get rid of that little pen clip. That way we've got just a smooth rod. And then I'm going to try and get rid of that mirror. So I use the heat gun here to heat up the glue that's holding it in place. It is not really necessary and it gets way too hot. If you just have a clay sculpting tool or like a sharp knife or something like that, you can really get in and get underneath that mirror and just break it out really easily. If you want to keep the mirror intact, you got to be a little bit more careful, but it can be done. And these are perfect size for 25mm miniatures. Even the 27mm miniatures from Star Wars Legion fit in here. So I'm just going to take a 3D printed base. This is 32mm base just to give it some more base to work with. I'm just going to super glue in a washer. That way it has a little bit more weight to it and it doesn't fall down as easy as it normally would. I then grab a drill and roughly in the center get a hole that will fit the little screw in. You can do this with a pin vise as well. Really easy. And you just screw it into the top and you're basically done. But I wanted to give the bases a little bit of more protection because it's made of resin. It will warp in the sun and it'll get all broken and cracked. So I just gave it a coat of a black paint. And once they're all together, I just test them out with some magnetized miniatures and they work perfectly. However, along the bottom, just to add a bit more stability on some uneven terrain, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some tacky glue, spread it over the washer, and stick that down onto a piece of felt. This means that if you have little tiny things sticking out of your terrain, this isn't going to fall over instantly. It's going to be pushed into the elasticity and the little bit of give that the felt gives you. And these are so great and they work with pre-magnetized miniatures. One of the other things about using a magnetized pole is what if it's the wrong orientation and all my miniatures are a different way to how the pole is? It just won't work. But with this, if your miniature is already magnetized, it works fine. However, it is kind of difficult to stabilize if you're just using one hand. And when I was recording this, I had so many miniatures falling over and over and over again. But if you're careful, you set it up with two hands, they stay up really well. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next week with something different.